Mic check, mic check. We rolling, guys? We on?
We're live.
Guys? Oh, we're live. Hi, welcome to Science and Stuff. My name is Anna Wanger. I'm your host, and I am also the showrunner of Mission Unstoppable, a TV show that airs every Saturday morning on CBS. It is about science, technology, engineering, and math, and I love Mission Unstoppable so much that I decided to bring you even more science, technology, engineering, and math here at Science and Stuff. This week, we have paleoecologist Dr. Emily Lindsey, who's going to talk to us about prehistoric sloths that were taller than elephants. We also have actress, comedian, and Mission Unstoppable correspondent Erica Hernandez joining us today. Dr. Lindsey will bring the science, and Erica and I will bring the stuff. And now it's time for...
Science news that impress your friends. You can't stop thinking about it if you wanted to.
That's right, it's Science Newsy News that will impress your friends that you can't stop thinking about even if you wanted to. All right, our first story up. This is news to me. Humans are born with 100 extra bones. Did you guys already know that? Yep, 100 extra bones. Where do all these bones go? Well, it turns out that we have cartilage separating many of our bones when we're born. This makes us more pliable so that we can fit through the birth canal. During the first year of life, those bones fuse together and the cartilage gets taken the place of by actual bone so that we become rigid and we can stand up straight and be strong. But before that, yeah, it's just Bone City. For example, when we're born, our skull alone has 44 bones, but then those fuse to make only 14. Consider this when assembling your Halloween skeleton this year. Next up, the Eiffel Tower can be up to 15 centimeters taller during the summer due to thermal expansion. That's almost 6 inches taller, which is incredible. What happens is that when metal is heated up, the molecules and its particles all bump into one another, making it expand. So that's what causes it to grow 6 inches during the hottest months of the year. When it cools off, the metal shrinks back down and it's its regular size. For those of you wondering, I checked if this rule also applied to humans, thinking that I could be 5'9" by this summer, but it turns out, nope, I'm going to have to stay 5'2" and 3/4 inches because it does not apply to humans, just metal. If any of that changes, I will absolutely let you know right away. Ooh, this is my favorite newsy news. And I learned this because I was talking to a shark expert from Cal State Long Beach last week because we're going to do a couple of stories on sharks. A 400-year-old shark has been discovered. It is called the sleeper shark, the Pacific sleeper shark to be specific. It's closely related to another 400-year-old shark that we already knew about called the Greenland shark. But just to clarify, this shark can live up to 400 years old. Like one of them can live up to 400 years old. I'm not like, oh, this is a shark its family has been around for 400 years. No, one singular shark can live to be up to 400 years old. This was really exciting to me because previous to that, I just thought the Galapagos tortoise was the oldest living animal. Maybe there's another old animal that you know about. I know that at least one Galapagos tortoise ended up living to like 170 years. But this sleeper shark has it beat by 330 years. No, I'm doing the math wrong. 230 years. So 400 years this sleeper shark can live. And I mean, I only thought vampires could do that. Vampires aren't real, just so you know. But this shark is. And that is it for...
Science news that impress your friends. You can't stop thinking about it if you wanted to.
Don't forget that Science Newsy News because it really will impress your friends. I've impressed people with that shark story like 10 times since I heard about it. Okay, so here's our first guest, Dr. Emily Lindsey. She is a paleoecologist. She's conducted fieldwork in Chile, Guyana, Ecuador, and even spent time on a vessel in Antarctica studying krill. I want to go on a vessel in Antarctica and study krill. And nowadays, she's a curator and excavation site director at the La Brea Tar Pits and Museum right here in Los Angeles. Emily, hello. Oh, there you are. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's just start right off, if you don't mind, with you telling us about the giant sloth, because sloths are so popular these days. I feel like they've been popular for a long time now. Look how big that sloth is. It is so cute. And you found the skeletons of these sloths at the La Brea Tar Pits, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of them at the La Brea tar pits. I also have a tar pit site in Ecuador I've excavated that has a whole lot of giant sloths. I mean, they're sloths and they were giant, so what more?
What more could
What
you
more do you
want?
need to love them, really? Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, it's awesome. And tell me exactly, what is a paleoecologist?
So an ecologist is someone who studies how all the different components of an ecosystem interact. So the plants, the animals, what's eating what, and what happens to that ecosystem when you change something, when you introduce a new species, when you get rid of a species, when you change the temperature, when it gets rainier or drier. And this is something I've been in love with for many, many years. And I actually, as you mentioned, I used to do marine ecology, and I studied krill, and I studied, slimy things in the water. And then I found out that you could study the ecology of ecosystems that don't exist anymore. And that just blew my mind. And so I made the transition over to paleoecology. So I'm looking at specifically this time period right before all the big mammals on Earth went extinct, or almost all of them. And, when we think of the Ice Age, we think of, woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats, giant sloths, camels, horses, bison, lions, dire wolves.
And these are all
of these
giant
enormous
versions of
animals.
things. Yeah. Just
They're
like,
all, so they're all, we had giant bears, other continents. There were giant armadillos in North and South America. There were giant wombats in Australia. There were giant
oh, I
lemurs in
didn't know there were
Madagascar.
giant wombats in Australia. Those are so cute. They also are kind of vicious when they get older, though. The wombats themselves. But man, a giant one would just be so cute. And so you study the ecology of that time period. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's called the Pleistocene era. Is that the same as the Ice Age?
So the Ice Age is sort of the common term for it. Really, during the Pleistocene epoch, there were a number of different ice ages. So the world would get colder, the ice sheets would expand, half of North America at times would be covered under ice, and then it would get warmer, a lot of the ice would melt, sea levels would rise again. And so we went in and out of these a bunch of times. And at the very end of the very last one is when we suddenly lose about somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the large mammals on almost every continent.
Right. So as a paleoecologist, you study that time period. So what you're learning is, why were animals allowed, or how could they live to grow so large then, but now we just have smaller versions of them, right?
Well, it's actually sort of a flip of the question. Yeah. So why are there? It's not why were there so many big things a long time ago. It's why are there not those big things now? Because if you look back over time, the Pleistocene's only about the last 2 million years of Earth's history, but going back about 50 million years, you have a lot of large-bodied mammals on every ice-free continent, right? That's just the normal state for an ecosystem in the Cenozoic, or the age of mammals. So since the big dinosaurs went extinct, mammals sort of were able to expand and take their place, and so you had big mammals everywhere. And then it's just in this very tiny period, like the last about somewhere between 10 and 40,000 years ago, depending on where you're looking, that everywhere except for Africa, almost all of those big mammals went extinct.
Wow. Okay. Now we've got a question from our audience. People are able to send in questions at CBS Unstoppable on Instagram, or they're able to chat us on Twitch if they have an account. So what's the question?
Gilly for you wants to know what happened to the giant sloth.
Gilly for you wants to know what happened to the giant sloth. See, I'm telling you, these sloths, man, everybody loves the sloth. I'm fascinated about the armadillo. I want to hear more about that. But yes, so what happened to the giant? So why did they die out, or why are they no longer alive with us today?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to find out. So there were two things happening at this time, and these two things may sound familiar. First of all, we were coming out of the last ice age, so the Earth was rapidly warming. You have a lot of changes in the ecosystems associated with that, changes in temperature and precipitation. You have changes in vegetation going on. All of these obviously can impact animals. We know they're impacting animals today.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, this is when you have humans starting to spread out across the globe and start to interact with a lot of these ecosystems for the very first time.
That was one of my main questions. I was like, are there humans, or at least proto-humans? There's not modern man alive at this time, though, is there? Or,
Yep.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, at this time, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you've had modern humans, and they're spreading out of Africa and sort of Central Eurasia. They're spreading to, their numbers are increasing in Europe. They're going to Australia for the first time. They're going, importantly, to North and South America for the first time. And when you see these large-bodied mammals disappear, coincides often pretty closely with these migrations and population increases of humans.
Oh, you're kidding. See, I was hoping the humans would be friends with the sloths and maybe ride them or pet them real nice. But are we thinking that they maybe ate them, Dr. Emily Lindsey?
Well, we know that certainly we have a couple of instances where we have found bones of giant sloths that were pretty clearly butchered by humans. We don't have a lot of these sites, so we don't know, is this really, was this really the nail in the coffin?
Right.
It seems likely that in a lot of places, these populations of the sloths and the other animals were already being impacted by the climate changes that were happening, and their habitat disappearing and their populations getting sort of smaller and more fragmented. And maybe then onto this already stressed population, you have this novel predator come in, and it's just too much for the population to sustain.
Yes, yes. We've got another question. See, I know people are going to love this. Yeah, what is it?
Bakewit wants to know, will another ice age happen?
Bakewit wants to know, will another ice age happen?
So that's a good question. We should, based on the timing of these ice ages, we actually should be going back into one now, but we're not. The world is continuing to get warmer, and actually it's warming at a faster rate than before. And this is, of course, because of the changes that humans have been causing with the different greenhouse gases,
global
carbon dioxide,
warming, yeah.
Exactly, being released into the atmosphere. So it doesn't look like a new ice age is coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
But Earth history is long. We've had 4 billion years of Earth history. There's been periods that we've called ice houses before, hot houses before. So in the global time, yes, certainly at some point
maybe
there
in
will
a couple
be
billion
more
years.
Ice ages.
But not anytime
we just may
soon.
not be around to see it.
So I know why you asked that, Bakewit, and I know because you want to ride a giant sloth or have a saber-toothed tiger as your kitty cat pet. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But we'll give it a billion years or something like that. And so the megafauna, so it was cooler. There's also giant beavers, giant armadillos, as you were saying. I cannot believe that there was a giant wombat. I'm going to tell my cousin who lives in Australia about that because she loves wombats. But so were they just, it was cooler. Was there just more stuff for them to, oh, here we have pictures of woolly mammoth, and then you see up there the saber-toothed tiger as well. And, so was there more food for them? And it was cooler, and they weren't being chased by humans yet, perhaps, is why they were able to grow so large.
Well, again, there was all this, once the big dinosaurs, the T-Rex and the Brontosaurus and everything went extinct, you have all this open niche space where the world is, the ecosystems obviously can support large-bodied animals, and there's no large-bodied animals in them. Yeah. And what really survived and took off in the time after the dinosaurs were the mammals. And so mammals got big pretty rapidly after that extinction. And then for at least 50 million years, there were large-bodied mammals everywhere. So I think natural ecosystems, Earth ecosystems, can generally support a lot of large-bodied animals. If you think of like the African savanna today, where you have,
totally.
elephants and wildebeest
Yeah.
and humans and
They're
lions, right? Like
huge.
that is a
Yeah.
normal ecosystem for planet Earth during the Cenozoic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Okay, we've got another question.
How do you reconstruct flesh of prehistoric animals?
Oh, how do you reconstruct? So you get the skeleton, and then how do you reconstruct the flesh? Like, how do you know what they looked like by using the skeleton?
So that's a great question. So a lot of clues that we use are actually the shape of the bones themselves, and you can see where, we know from studying animals alive today, including humans, we know that certain points of bones are where muscles attach. So if you can see how big those parts of the bones are, you can say, hey, this thing had like really muscular shoulders, or this thing had like, very sort of delicate jaws, or what have you. And so that's something that we use to figure out kind of, where they were bigger, what things were maybe like more slender or more, rotund.
Yeah. And I would imagine like
the sort of death at the outside.
Yeah, well, and then also it would be easier for this stuff because I would imagine like the giant camels, the giant, the saber-toothed tiger, which was, how much bigger is the saber-toothed tiger than like a modern day tiger?
So saber-toothed cat, which they're not actually
cat. Yeah.
They're not actually related to tigers,
I'm
so
gonna
we
write
stopped
that down.
calling them that. I would say, so like if you looked at like the arm bone of the upper arm bone, the humerus of a saber-toothed cat, and you held it next to the humerus of a lion, they're pretty similar in length, but they're like much, much thicker. So they're like kind of like linebacker lions. Like really, really quite enormous, strong cats. So cool. And then there was another cat that was even bigger, which is called the American lion, similar to the cave lion in Europe. They are the biggest cats that ever lived, and they are just enormous. Like if you look at the skull of one next to the skull of a modern lion or saber-toothed cat, that the lion or modern lion or cat just looks tiny compared to it. These were like enormous mega cats,
twice,
and you would not
twice
want to
the
meet
size,
one.
you think? Or
probably not twice the size, but they were like, their heads would come up to,
that's
your shoulder.
Crazy. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And you found the fossils of these animals in Los Angeles, right in the middle of Los Angeles, in the La Brea tar pits, which is where you work. And why are the tar pits so great at preserving these fossils?
So that's a fantastic question. So the tar pits do two things. So first of all, just to give people context, everybody wants to know, like, why are there tar pits in the middle of Los Angeles? And it's because of two things. It's because of oil and earthquakes. So basically, there are big oil reservoirs under Los Angeles. If you live in LA, you've certainly seen the oil derricks pumping as you're driving to the airport, right?
Yeah.
So right below where the La Brea tar pits are, which is in the Miracle Mile,
there it is.
About 1,000 feet below the ground, there's a big oil reservoir. Because we have a lot of tectonic activity and earthquakes, sometimes these cracks, fissures, open up in the ground, and that oil from underground is sort of smushed up to the surface, and it creates these little shallow pools. They're not like big lakes of quicksand, which is how they're often portrayed in cartoons and stuff. They're actually just like a few inches deep, but they're so sticky that they can trap something as large as a mammoth. In fact, I've heard that like way back in the day, there was some circus elephant that actually did get stuck and had to be rescued from such a tar pit.
Oh, it was rescued. That's a good story. Yeah.
So they do two things, right? They stick everything right there. Anything that steps in it sticks there. Anything that falls in it sticks there. Leaves that blow down. Stuff that gets washed in by rivers. We used to have a lot of rivers coming through that area before, Mid-City was built. You'd get, these rains, and they'd be washing.
Yeah, it's
sediment
now
off the
Rodeo
Santa Monica
Drive,
Mountain.
to be exact. And Beverly Hills is like right there. Yeah.
Right. And
so
Rodeo is actually named for Rodeo de las Aguas because there were rivers and streams there, right? Like there used to be a lot of water activity.
There it is. Yes.
Know your street names.
Yes, and I heard that you recently discovered a raccoon there. At you
We
you
did.
found. Tell me. I love raccoons.
Well, it was a really cool find because, we have both because of sort of what seems to kind of differentially get preserved, but also kind of what people have looked for the last 100 years. We have a really overabundance of things like saber-toothed cats and dire wolves in our collection, and much less representation and certainly much less study of a lot of the animals that are still alive today. But actually, we have like 600 species of plants and animals that have been like trapped and preserved in the tar pits, and the vast majority of those are still around the LA area today. So it's really cool to find one of those and be like, hey, like this could be the, great thousand great grandpa
Right.
of the raccoon that was going through my trash last night, right?
So it wasn't a giant raccoon. I was hoping it was a
It was
giant
not a
raccoon.
giant raccoon.
Oh,
Nope.
okay. Do we have that picture just of my dream raccoon? I was hoping just to someday ride a raccoon, and they made that picture for me, which I will get blown up to poster size and put on my wall immediately after this show. But I still love a small raccoon. And tell us why raccoons are so relevant today.
Because they wear masks and they wash their hands.
They wear masks and
it's
they
something
wash
we-
their hands. That's right. That's what we should all be doing, right? Sorry to interrupt you there. Okay, so we have a game for you, Dr. Lindsey, and it's time to play our game, I Know Everything About. This is a game we play every week with our experts. We ask you something that pertains to your field. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and you'll get a chance to rise to the top of our prestigious Science and Stuff leaderboard, whose graphic design you can see right here, I believe. Maybe we'll show it later. Here's the leaderboard. Look at this design they've got here. Ashley Levy was our guest last year. She got 5 out of 10. So you just have to get more than 5, and you will rise right to the top here. Okay, so here you go. We've created a game for you called I Know Everything About Giant Pleistocene Era Animals. I'm going to show you pictures of an animal skeleton, and you are supposed to guess or know what that animal is. Okay, so starting off, can you see the pictures? There we go. So which one is this?
It's a giant ground sloth.
Giant ground sloth.
Probably Rematherium.
Yes, that is exactly right. Very exciting.
It would have been pretty
Next,
embarrassing if I got that one wrong.
if you didn't know. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'm reminded to do the clap when you get it right there. Do we have it? I don't know if it's working. Oh, here we go. There we go. Good job. All right. They got me this soundboard. They're very excited about me using it, so I will be using it. Okay. Next one. Show the next one. Do you know what that is?
Direwolf.
Direwolf. Yeah, absolutely correct. Direwolf, not just a fictional animal on Game of Thrones. The direwolf actually used to live. Okay, next one.
That is a Glyptodon.
Glyptodon, a.k.a. Now, is that an armadillo or is that related to an armadillo?
They're related. There were also things
Look at how cute
that are
is.
more closely related to armadillos. They're called pompatheres, and those were really the giant armadillos. The Glyptodons are sort of like a sister group.
Its own thing. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, next one. Let's see the next one. Do you know what
Giant
that is?
beaver?
Absolutely correct. Here it is. Look at those teeth. That thing is huge. How tall is that beaver?
Gosh, maybe 4 feet?
I mean, can you imagine? All right, next up.
Is it a woolly rhinoceros?
Yes. I mean, it's almost like she's got a PhD in this. Look at that thing. I love these animals. I could do this all day. Oh, this next one, I didn't even know this existed. Here we go.
Oh, it's a Calicothere.
I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm so glad you did. Look at this. What animals is that? Like, what is that closely related to that lives today?
Nothing.
Anything?
They're part of
Yeah.
a group that's completely gone.
It's his own thing. Man, that thing is cool. Okay, next one. Is this even a real thing?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
I'm told it's a near horn beast. Is that a thing, or did we get it right? The people who are looking these up are not scientists, just so you know, Dr. Emily Lindsey.
I believe it's. I don't believe they survived until the Pleistocene.
Oh, okay.
That's
there
my
you go.
excuse.
See, not a Pleistocene animal. That's okay then. We'll give that a pass. We're going to give her that one. We're going to give her that. Seriously, when I was looking at these, I'm like, are you guys sure that these are all from the Pleistocene? They're like, oh, we think so. So, okay, next one.
Oh, that's a Diane. They're the terror bird.
That's right. That's a terror bird, it's called. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm supposed to give you a point. Terror bird. What an appropriate name. All right, next one. Oh, that's just a skull. I mean, that would be hard to tell.
It is a highly carnivorous mammal.
Something.
I don't know, but it eats meat.
They're calling, yeah, right? I know. They're calling it a wolf-sized otter. Have you heard of that?
Cool.
That just looks like a regular otter to me. All right, next one. Let's see this. Oh, this is a
Not real.
not real exactly, but it is real in our hearts, and that is a, go ahead and show it. A little ponytherium, My Little Ponytherium. That's cute. All right, that's excellent. So I mean, I would say she got it at least 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10?
I think she's got 10
10
out of
out of 10. Right on. Well done. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot wait till the tar pits opens again. It's just one of my favorite places to go in Los Angeles, and everything you do is so cool. And I need to have you back on as a guest because I want to get into all the little tiny, you know, the beetle wings and the little juniper seeds and the little jaws, the little teeth from the moles. I love all of that stuff too that you found in the tar pits. I mean, really, this subject is so exciting. So thank you so much for joining us. And let me know, can I please be the first person to call if you do find a giant raccoon at any point? I would love that.
I will definitely let you know if we find any giant raccoons.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lindsey. All right. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Yay. Oh, clapping. We're clapping because you want me to press the clapping thing. Yay. Emily Lindsey moves to the top of our very well organized leaderboard there. Oh, the margins are looking great on that leaderboard, guys. Okay, here we go. All right, our next guest is Erica Hernandez. Erica is an actress, writer, and correspondent on your favorite show, Mission Unstoppable. Her favorite snack is carrots and baba ganoush, and she's also appeared on Search Party. Welcome, Erica. Oh.
Hello.
Hey, Erica, how's it going? I'm so glad that you're here.
So well, I truly don't know where to look. This is so exciting.
I know, neither do I. I sometimes look at the camera. I sometimes look at this microphone on my desk. I sometimes look at you, and then they also gave me this little baby microphone that I put in this skull, in this skeleton hand.
I had questions about that. I was like,
you do?
What,
I mean, should we just jump right in there on the little baby microphone?
It took me a while to realize that like, I was just like,
what is happening? No, I know. Well, they gave me this little baby microphone because last week I was humming as for our guest who was a music producer. She uses technology to make music. And so I was like humming into this little baby microphone. And then I have this skeleton hand just laying around because I found it in the kitchen here and I thought it was funny and I use it to like stir things and stuff. So, you know, we just combine the two because why not?
I love that. I love that so much. I love that. For us, I love that. Yeah.
Being a comedian. So tell us about what was the audition process like for Mission Unstoppable?
Oh, just hardball and straight out of the gate. The audition process. I didn't audition.
No, I just called you.
Like, is this a trick question? Yeah, I think the audition process is just like Anna being like, hey,
I got this show. Do you want to be on it? Yeah. No, totally. But that was one of the questions on the list. And I'm like, that's not going to be it, but we could talk about it. I knew Erica. and knew she was hilarious and funny, and also from a family of scientists, right? And like engineers.
Yeah, correct. Yes, engineers, doctors, someone who's getting their master's and a PhD in neuroscience. So just like super regular, relatable stuff.
Right. Everybody in your family, but you and you are an actress and comedian.
I am, yeah.
Yes.
I'm like the self-diagnosed black sheep. They don't say that about me, but I'm like, well, I'm the only one that's doing something that's not STEM. So like,
except now you are doing something that's STEM, which is a big part of Mission Unstoppable, is that even if you think you don't like STEM or you're not interested in STEM subjects, that everyone at some point in their lives will use STEM. I mean, you're already using it every day and not even aware of it, but it's like, here you are, and it's awesome that you do have all those people in your family who work in STEM, because it makes it easier for you to relate and talk to all of the people that you go out and meet with on Mission Unstoppable.
Yeah, I've grown up just like talking about jobs and things that weren't necessarily like in my field, but I found interesting. Right. And so it feels like home to me.
Yeah.
And
yeah, seriously. And what are, like, can you think of like your favorite segments that you've done on the show, or anything in particular that you remember that you enjoyed?
100. I mean, I definitely, in large part also because of my family's background, I really loved the soccer one, because I also come from like a very big soccer family. Like I never watched football growing up, like American football or like basketball, but like soccer is it. And so there was some real street cred that got earned by working with, and I might have like pumped up a little bit. I was like, I was like pretty much.
You were. No. You don't even have to say you pumped it up, because I was there. And your athleticism. So what she's talking about is there was a segment on Mission Unstoppable with U.S. soccer training and conditioning coach Dawn Scott, who coached two of the U.S. women's soccer teams to World Cup. Is that World Cup? That's what it is for soccer, right? Yeah. And it was hardcore. And she put you through the same paces that she put her World Cup winning soccer team through. And you hung in there, and you scored as well as the lowest scoring woman on the U.S. women's soccer team, which is good enough to make it.
So huge. That's a score. Okay.
No, it totally is.
Scoring, yeah.
And at the end, you asked her, like, will you call me if you have a spot open up? She said yes. I was there.
And she said yes. Has she called me? Absolutely not. But I'm waiting, okay? I got my phone battery replaced today, just in case.
Just in case that was what the problem is. Yeah.
If you're watching, like, I have time, so I'll come on the team.
Yes. Did you enjoy science when you were growing up?
I loved exploring, which the more scientists I talk to, they're like, science is observation, science is exploration. I'm like, well, I was very into that. I had a huge imagination and wanted to, like, I would pick up bugs and stuff to some degree. But like, I think just like, honestly, there came a point where I was just like, I'm a theater kid, but I like always was fascinated, especially with biology, which like I think is normal for a lot of kids, because you're like animals and trees, and I was a big environmentalist, still am. So like, there's definitely elements that have stuck for sure. But now I'm working on a science.
Here you are. Yeah. So last week's episode, you were in two of the segments. You were in the segment with Vicky Vasquez. And I think we're going to play a clip back for Vicky Vasquez. We're going to play a clip back. This is just a dog driving a car, which Elena's just wondering what you think of this clip as a comedian, because she would like to use it quite often.
I think it's pretty good. There's something like weirdly soothing about it.
It is, right?
It's just like, yeah, he does look like he's falling asleep at the wheel a little bit, though.
Totally. But it could also be the fact that he's not actually in a car, so it might be the wind in his eyes. Also, it's snowy in the background, which means it's probably pretty cold. Oh, I can't hear her. I can just hear this silent. Oh, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
The silence of my.
All I can see is this dog.
I mean, he's amazing. He's like his hat is very in place for the wind that's supposedly there.
Gentleman.
He's a gentleman. Yeah,
Exactly.
He definitely does like have a little bit of like grandpa falling asleep watching TV. Like we shouldn't be driving on a windy road right now.
We love this dog. I don't know where we found. I think this clip was in. It actually was in the clip. But we're not sure exactly. You know, we put like a lot of stock footage in our things that we're talking about. Yeah. I think that was an Emily Pillaton's clip. We're going to figure out exactly what it was. Oh, here's the Vicky Vasquez. Here's the Vicky Vasquez. Look at this. Do you remember this thing?
Oh, I do. I really, really do.
Look at that face. It's a frilled shark.
Look at those teeth. There's like teeth within teeth.
Yes.
Very.
What was that like looking at all those sharks?
It was crazy. I mean, you know, you think sharks, you think the fin that comes out of the water. Like I had up until this segment, I truly had such a narrow idea of what a shark was. And now it is exponentially larger. It's also just like all of these were in jars. I felt like I was in
Look
Harry
at all those
Potter.
jars back there. I know.
It's like jarred sharks.
And
what
there's
is I looked at that?
Exactly.
She's just holding up a jar.
And she's just like, check out my shark. Yeah.
Oh, and Vicky was so like, she just put her hand straight, and I'm like, are you sure? And you don't have to. That you're just gonna
You're just gonna pick that right up out of that formaldehyde. And I want to say she said this was like it was really old. It was like 100 years old or something like that.
This one was really.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on the year, but
yeah.
I mean, look at his eyes.
It's like, yeah, I know. And that was a really cool segment. She had discovered a shark. I believe she called it the Ninja Lantern Shark, and it actually glowed in the dark. Yeah, so Vicky Vasquez was super, super cool. And then Emily Pillaton. Dun, dun, dun. Do we have Emily Pillaton clip too? No, because that was the dog one.
We have
they played back the dog one instead.
Let's all just watch
Good
that
job,
clip
guys.
again. I think it's 2020. We need this.
We'll just categorize that
I have a question.
as the stuff part. Oh, Elena says
we have what like the end of 2019 looked like for the world. It was like we're riding, we're happy, we're just driving along.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Tell me what the question is, Kiki.
Help me, Kiki wants to know, what did it smell like in there?
Help me, Kiki wants to know, what did it smell like with the jar sharks?
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't remember the room smelling particularly bad. It was like those jars were closed very tight, so it wasn't like you walked in and you were like, there's a whole bunch of pickled. They're not pickled. That's incorrect. Animals in here. But the smell, once you opened a thing, it was straw. It smelled like formaldehyde, for sure.
It smelled straight up like formaldehyde. And remember, it was super cold in there?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure made it better. Because if it had been hot and you opened one of those jars, it would have been crazy. But
imagine.
Yeah. And we opened a lot of those jars, too.
We opened many.
Yes. But the segment that you were in last week also was the Emily Pillaton at the girls' garage, where you built with her and used like saws and everything like that.
So cool. I still have that toolbox. I built that toolbox, and it's proudly in my closet, holding a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's really cool.
So we have actually a game for you to play. Dun dun dun. And it's a quiz of a bunch of segments that you've been in from Mission Unstoppable. And I've watched them so many times that I can totally give you clues if you don't know right off the bat, but I think you might remember pretty well. Okay, so this segment is called I Know Everything About, and we do it for each of our guests, and we do it on something that you're an expert in. So basically, your game is I Know Everything About segments of Mission Unstoppable that I was in. And if you get, our last guest got 10 out of 10, so you got to get 10 out of 10 to tie with her, but
let's
I think
just
you
set
can.
the bar much lower.
I think you can. Her game was actually really hard. We showed her pictures of skeletons, and then we were like, tell us what animal this is. She did a really good job. Of course, she's a doctor.
If it wasn't her career, that would be like really concerning to be good at. Like if you gave me that test and I got 10 out of 10, you'd be like, Erica, why do you know? Why do you know this?
Totally. For the next one, let's try that one just for fun. But okay, cool. All right, let's do it. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes. Well,
I'm like, are you ready? Okay, good. But what ice cream flavor did you make with ice cream maker Robin Sue Fisher? Robin Sue Fisher is an ice cream maker who uses liquid nitrogen. If you'll remember, we went to her place in San Francisco to make to freeze ice cream, and it gave her a smoother product with smaller ice crystals.
It was.
Do you remember what flavor it was?
I appreciate you starting with this because I think I do, because I don't forget ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like vanilla with cookie dough. It was like chocolate chip cookie dough.
Correct. That's one for Erica. Yep. Okay. Next one. You already answered this question, so it's going to be an easy one for you. What did you build at the girls' garage with Emily Piloton?
A toolbox, but also my confidence. I remember that was the tag of the thing.
She even remembers the tag. Building toolboxes and confidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I fully revealed my ring light. Love it.
I have so many lights. I'll reveal those later just so you feel at home. So what piece of equipment did you code to fly with coder and computer programmer Jordan Castor?
Yes, a drone.
A drone.
Does that count? Yeah. Okay.
I love this. Can you hear the sound?
I have not gotten this much applause since I was like 8 years old and did a monologue from Cats in a talent show. I swear.
What monologue? There's a monologue in Cats?
Yeah, the beginning when they're like, I still.
The naming of cats is a curious matter.
That dog with a hat again. Just anytime that you need to just kind of do something.
The naming of cats is a curious matter. It isn't just one of those holiday games. We won't do that right now.
While he was driving.
All right. Okay. Oh, this is a tough one, but it might take you a second, but I think you'll remember it if you think about it. What's the scientific name for the oyster that Ronki Olabisi uses to rebuild teeth? Well, she's actually using the oyster to figure out how to rebuild bone specifically.
Right. The scientific name. Oh, boy. I remember a word.
In it?
I remember a word from this segment, but I don't know if it's the scientific name for the oyster, if it's just the thing I remember because I thought it was fun to say. Pinctada maxima? No.
That's totally it. Maxima pinctada. Yeah, and I actually think she's coming.
Validating because I'm like, I learned.
I know you're learning, and you haven't recorded this for over a year probably at this point. So that's great. That's great. You're smart. That's what it is. You're smart. Okay, so Maxima Pinctada, and I think Ronki Olabisi is going to be a guest soon, and I'm really excited to hear how that's going because I think that's such an interesting thing, using oysters to rebuild bones. I mean, man, if she can figure that out. Yeah. When you were with Dr. Ray Wynn Grant, who is a large animal scientist, if you see, this is the question, if you see a bear in the wild, what are you supposed to do?
Wow, this is like the thing that I should remember.
Well, you live in New York City, so it's not exactly like.
Not forgotten. It would be this. I'm going to try to just use my common sense here and say, I don't think you're supposed to turn around and run away from it because
You're not.
You would give it chase. I feel like it's like make a loud noise and just like walk away, but like watch it while you walk away.
That's what, yes. Well, close, but I remember this very well. You're supposed to put, like, if you have a jacket or a sweater, you're supposed to hold it over your head.
Yes.
And then the loud noise part that you're remembering is, and I love this, she was like, and then just yell. And you're like, what am I supposed to yell? And she said, how about, go away, bear? And you were like, I can do that. You were just walking around the forest yelling, go away, bear, with your jacket over your head. You didn't see any bears, to be fair. It worked.
Yeah.
That was your very first segment that you ever did, I think.
Well, there you go.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I could use that in New York, not for bears, but just for
for anything.
Get a jacket up and just be like, go away!
You! Exactly. Okay. Do you remember the test that Don Scott gave you? Do you remember the title of the test? This is question number 6. Do you remember the title of the test that Don Scott gave you?
If it had more than one title, which it might, I don't know that I remember both. But like, I remember something called the beep test.
That's it.
Beep.
That's it. You got it. I'm supposed to do the clapping instead of. I have to learn to press these buttons better. I have a lot of flourish, but I'm not coordinating. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh,
I don't have but I'm doing okay. So
no, you're doing great.
Let's all live in that moment with me.
Really, it was the bear one, and I don't know how our judges are going to score that one because you did say make a loud noise, which is like half of it, So we'll see. We'll see how the judges rule on that, but we're just going to have to wait till the.
If she acts it out for us, we'll give her the point.
This just in from the judges. Were you able to hear that?
I heard that. I acted out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in a New York apartment, so there's literally a window behind me. So but we're going to pretend that this was a jacket and not like the window screen. Even bigger, and then I'll just be like, go away, bear! My dog is great.
You get the point. It's working on your dog, right? Your dog's like,
my dog stood up, but she's going the opposite way because she's coming towards me. She's like, why are you acting crazy? Are you okay?
I love it. Do you remember what the part, this is question number 7. What is the name of the part of the brain that communicates between the two halves of your brain? This is so hard.
Oh my God.
Do you want some air horn to help you?
Just
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, just really got the brain fired up. As long as I can remember how it was firing up, what the thing is called that's making it.
But now that an air horn is plastic.
I think I know because I remember. I loved. This is Latasia. Yeah.
Yes.
We have a boo on there for wrong
She's
answer.
so cool. Corpus.
Yes.
Callosum.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You got it. I did a clap and an air horn for that at the same time. And then I'm going to follow it up with, let's go. Because, we're really killing it here. Let's go.
This is more a testament to our guests than me. They've done a good job teaching.
This is tough. Yeah, you're doing a great job. You've done a great job. They've done a great job teaching because you literally record this and then I'm sure watch it. But, it's only been on 2 times since then. So you're really doing well here. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. Number 8, can you list 3 items from your environmental scavenger hunt that you did with Dr. Luce Claudio? Remember we were looking for things in your neighborhood that were good for the environment and how you could help improve your neighborhood?
that were good. That were good for the yeah.
It could be good or bad because you were looking for things that you were like kind of scoring the neighborhood on like bad things for the environment or good things for the environment. So you can think of 3 of any of those.
Yes. Trees.
Trees are good. They create oxygen and clean the air.
And clean the air. We need more of them.
Yep.
Let's get some more. I remember like I don't even know if this was in this segment, but I just remember vividly like talking about a trash can, but I don't know if it was good or because she was like, oh, it was like trash on the street. She was like, that's bad because rats. And as a New Yorker, that stuck with me.
Correct. That's 2. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Overflowing trash cans were bad.
Yeah.
Trees good. Overflowing trash cans bad. We need 1 more.
I remember riding a bike.
Bikes are good. Bicycle. Yes, that's 3. You got it. Excellent. Number 9. The world's largest laser that you visited at the National Ignition Facility in Livermore with Tammy Ma. She was making something with that giant laser. Yeah. Do you remember what she was making? I can give you a multiple choice.
I love a multiple choice.
Multiple choice. Okay. We've got A, crystals, B, stars, C, microplastics, or D, clones. This is the laser. Tammy Ma laser. Not the answer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, but I know the answer. And I know they're not crystals because crystals are used in making
in the laser.
With stars, I only remember this because I made a lot of bad puns about stars. Don't think any of them were.
Let's cut those together. Elena, let's cut together all of her bad puns about stars and make that like a digital video. We're going to make that just for you, Erica. We're going to send that to you. Because I think only 1 or 2 made it into the actual segment itself. So we'll make sure we gather those for you.
That's probably like 1 or 2 more than you need.
Not for me. I want like 10.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last question. So far, you've got 9 out of 10. This is number 10.
Okay. A little haircut and ready. Okay, let's go.
Erica Hernandez. You went to go see Kimberly Sass at a ice hockey rink.
Yes.
And you saw not barricades, but like guardrails made of plexiglass. Remember how they had the guardrails made of plexiglass so that like you wouldn't get hit by the puck and all of that stuff? Do you remember what those guardrails used to be made out of in the 1940s? They were made out of something a long time ago that was dangerous and didn't stop the pucks all of the time. Sometimes the pucks just went right through it.
Not a net. Like a...
This is hard.
Like 1940 comes like lasers. That's not. They don't.
No, I know.
Stars. No. I want to say something with like wire, but
yes. It's like you said it's like a net and then you said wire. So think of something that's like wire but kind of like looks like a net.
A sifter. Nope.
The second, does look like a net and it is wire, but they didn't make it out of sifters. But you know, wire is the second word of the thing. It's a compound word.
Chicken wire.
Chicken wire. Yeah. Elena just goes straight it for her. She wanted me to be like.
Let's pretend I didn't touch it. Yeah, do this and then yell, "Don't eat me there."
Don't eat me bear. So that's 10 out of 10. Emily Lindsey, Erica Hernandez, 1 into, I mean, really, they're sharing the first place spot on our prestigious Mission Unstoppable leaderboard that somehow has gotten worse since last week. I mean, Elena told me I wanted to get hats, you know, and Elena was like, oh no, like digital now, everybody's doing these leaderboards and it's like bragging rights and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, can't we get hats anyway? And she was like, oh no, let's just do the leaderboard. And then she showed me the cool leaderboard that she made, and that's it. Do you feel good about that, or would you prefer a hat?
I want to know what you mean by a hat, like a physical hat, like suddenly there's just even a hat here.
No,
like
I would have like held it and been like, hey, check it out, you won this hat, and I'm gonna send it to you, you know, and then you send me like a picture of you. Oh, that's a great idea. Did you hear that? But then if you didn't win, you'd have to be like, we wouldn't be able to do the throwing the hat thing.
Sure. And then if I didn't win, you'll just get a video of me later, like sadly
sending the hat back.
Maybe that's a good thing that they included the
Let's
return
do
label.
that. Let's do that. And then if people win, they can just throw the hat at themselves when I throw it off camera. And if they lose, like, we'll just get a picture of them putting the hat back in the like return to Mission Unstoppable, like self-addressed envelope. That's a great idea. We're gonna do that. Can we do that for next time?
Yep.
Maybe. They say yep, but that's really a
I know
maybe.
that there are people there because I can hear them, but the idea that you were in a room by yourself and just yelling off to no one
is
also like there's no one here that I could be like, are you guys, is my light still good?
Next time. That's a bit we could do. No, there are. Oh my gosh. All right. So where are we now? Oh, we have some would you rathers that we want to ask Erica.
Okay. That's so weird.
Erica, would you rather, I think this is a mean question personally, and I wouldn't answer it, but the question is, what do you like better, puppies or kittens?
Puppies.
She doesn't even hesitate.
I did not hesitate. I'm allergic to cats. So
that makes it easier. Like, I would be afraid that I would offend puppies or like the second I choose puppies or kittens, I just picture like the other ones just looking at me sadly, like, how could you do that to me?
You see the like animal rescue like videos with montage going.
In the arms of an angel.
Puppies are the number one spot in the chat.
Apparently, all of our Twitch people like puppies the best too. Cat people, where you at? Let's go.
Listen.
Next. Okay, what do you like better, cake or pie?
Oh, both.
See, you're not allergic to cake, so it's not easy for you to choose.
I can only answer questions with allergies involved. The problem is, if it was by itself, my answer is probably cake. However, you put pie a la mode, and that changes the whole situation. It's an unfair fight at that point. And like,
Okay. Then I'm gonna clarify. So I'm saying no ice cream can be involved. No ice cream can be involved. Cake or pie, no ice cream, no heating. You just got to pick one.
I think I'm gonna
let's
go.
get serious.
It feels like you're really looking at me.
The chat is split. Does it feel like I'm looking at you?
The chat is split. I think then cake. This is breaking me. I'm like falling apart.
I know. I can tell. I like it. This is what makes for great television. Hesitate a little bit more.
Oh God. No, I think my answer is cake, but I don't. Everyone says cake is wrong.
Aaron Bauer says cake is wrong, but who makes him the expert?
Aaron Bauer had a lot of pie a la mode. It's not a la mode. It's not a la mode.
This is really break. You're about to malfunction here.
Yeah.
Do you like my cool headphones that they got me, by the way? Isn't this high tech? I just wear this one hanging out of my ear. That's how it works.
You have two microphones, one which is like a tiny little thing, but then just like dangling headphones.
This doesn't work. I have dangling headphones, and I've got this, but it's too far. This is as far as it goes. It won't come any closer.
I love that I spent so much time being like, oh, I'm going to have like the nice New York City background, and now it's dark, and no one like...
It looked really good before. Just so everyone knows, Erica's view is really, really cool. You could see like the street and like a cool old church in the background. It was like very New York and cool, but it's dark now. Next time we'll see you earlier.
sitting in front
Would
of
you rather be a surgeon or a pilot?
That's a lot of lives.
That's a tough
lives.
question.
Oh man. Oh man.
Those are both really tough jobs.
If you mess up, that's like a lot of people that you might be
Dude, but a
over.
surgeon, if you mess up, it's still a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, and it's like very intimate. I think pilot, because you got like, there's like pilots actually, hot take, do they do a lot? Because there's like several co-pilots, and I'm pretty sure it's like all autopilot. And like,
everybody talks about autopilot. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
I think I'd rather be a pilot too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Pilot.
Twitch is pilot as well. Okay, we all agree. Thank you,
Travel.
Twitch.
I appreciate what surgeons do. I think maybe like
Thank God for surgeons. I mean, they're amazing what they do, but the little tiny, I just feel like I'd get down there and I'd just be like, oh, I wouldn't be able to use my skeleton hand.
Yeah, if I had a cup of coffee, I'd be like, cancel all my surgery.
Sorry, guys. I had a double latte, so I'm not going to be able to do my surgery because I'm a little shaky. Yeah, totally. Ooh, would you rather have 10 mosquito bites or 1 wasp sting?
Okay, that feels like a trauma-inducing question
For a lot of people, probably.
I am one of those people that gets bit by mosquitoes, and like the people around me will not. Like I have the blood that they like, so I suffer from multiple mosquito bites.
Yes.
So usually I would say 1 wasp sting.
Me too.
However, the 1 wasp sting happened to me recently on my lip.
Holy moly.
And it was like, I don't even know if it was a wasp. It might have been a horsefly. It was probably like the love child of like a carpenter bee and like a
murder hornet.
Stings. It was like, it's so big, and it landed on my lip.
Did it smell like really big?
Yeah, but only half my lip. So I looked like I had lip fillers just like on this side of my face. And then there was like this sting mark right in the middle. And it didn't go. The swelling lasted for like 5 days. It was very bad. And I couldn't, it was tingling, and it's
but
funny.
Still, okay, so would you rather have that wasp sting on your lip or 10 mosquito bites?
What I mean, the 10 mosquito bites probably compared to that wasp sting, unless they got the other side.
Mosquito bites.
Get new headshots
The
done.
mosquito bites are in a line up your lip all the way to your cheek. They're in a mustache, like a handlebar mustache. Yes. No, I would go wasp sting too, just because mosquito bites itch me so badly, and they just don't go away for a really long time. That I would just pick that. I would already pick.
Like
Wasps won this one as well. See, mosquitoes drive everybody. I'm like itching just thinking of mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquito bites are just
split. Twitch is split. Twitch is torn on the mosquito bite.
There's
I mean,
lot
so
of
controversial.
nasty viruses, you travel and a mosquito bites you.
Yeah, you could get anything.
I'm progressively closer to the camera, like I haven't, like it's just a secret that no one can know.
It's just us. Let's talk about wasp stings. This is a good one, and I know it was written by Brendan Bergen because he always says things like this. Would you always you have to greet people. You have to greet people for the rest of your life, either with "Hey buddy" or "What's shaking?" Would you rather greet people for the rest of your life? I told you it was hard. We ask the hard-hitting questions here at Science and Stuff.
I think my answer is literally just like, I'll be a hermit. Like, I'll be a social. No.
I just won't talk to anybody.
I blocked them out of my brain. They were so bad, I forgot.
Hey, buddy, or "What's shaking?" I feel like I could say "What's shaking" more ironically so that people knew I was kidding. Like, I could be like, "What's shaking? What's shaking?" Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Thank you for saying that first, because then I was able to sort of just like jump on your
on the "What's
answer
shaking" train.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Is the consensus from Twitch? I don't care. What do they want? Hey, buddy. Well, we're into comedy. We're here for the comedy, so we're gonna go with "What's shaking." We're gonna go with "What's shaking."
Hey, buddy feels like what? It just feels weird. Like there's a lot of people in my life where I'm like, I think they would be very confused if I was like, "Hey, buddy."
Yes.
Hey, buddy. Like my mom, she'd be like, what?
Don't call me buddy. Yeah, because you don't think about that. You'd have to call everybody buddy, like your mom, your grandma, like your teachers, your boss, you know.
How condescending.
Yeah,
Let's
the
shake
president. If you met the Queen of England, you'd have to be like, hey, buddy.
it. Hey, buddy.
She would much prefer you say, what's shaken? You just like
she'd be like,
curtsy. You're
"Oh,
like, what's shaken? It's much
she's
better.
like-
It's much classier. Yeah. Okay, last question.
Like, the answer is everything. My whole house. That's a better way of describing that her kingdom is falling apart. But,
My kingdom is falling apart. Is what's shaking.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Our last guest was a paleoecologist who studies like the giant animals of the Pleistocene era, like giant sloths and giant cats. And the question is, would you rather be friends with a giant sloth or a giant cat? And I'm talking the saber-toothed cats with the big teeth.
Yeah, I had my answer ready even before you said that. Definitely the sloth. Again, allergies.
Sloths
I don't know
so
if they
popular.
work in the big.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you were allergic to cats. All right, giant sloth or woolly mammoth then?
Oh. I think maybe the woolly mammoth. Imagine being like, what's shaking me?
Imagine riding up on a woolly mammoth and being like, what's shaking? Right?
Yeah, as you get your pilot's license and, you know.
Yes.
The woolly mammoth.
Woolly mammoth. I love it. Okay. I'm going to work on that for you. I think, we should ask Dr. Emily Lindsey maybe if they can make us some woolly mammoths and we can get you one of those. Maybe they could Jurassic Park us some giant woolly mammoths. Oh, it would be so amazing.
I think, yeah. It's weird
I'll
that
see
they
what
haven't
we can do.
on that,
I'll get you that instead of a hat if I can. But if not, I'm going to send you that hat, Erica.
We'll throw a real woolly mammoth through the screen.
Soon. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for remembering everything about Mission Unstoppable. And I can't wait to see you in all of these new segments this season. Yay! They're going to be so amazing. We're cutting them together. They'll be on January, or they'll be on in January. So thank you. And we'll see you next time. And I'll see you soon. Yeah. All right. Bye. Come back next week. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye. Love you. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And remember to follow us follow us at CBS Unstoppable on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you so much, everybody.
Wait, you don't follow CBS Unstoppable on YouTube? How will you know when new videos drop? You better go subscribe before you miss a crazy STEM moment, like me walking a shark or making a black hole in my backyard.